Final qualifying for the Indy Pro 2000 series as these drivers making their way out on track. This qualifying session will set the grid for the final race of the weekend tomorrow afternoon. Rob Howden, the spokesman for the Road to Indy, in the booth here with me. Rob, tell us what we're about to see.
Well,
sorry, my bad. There you go.
I'm back.
Yeah, my bad.
I made it. Unlike the USF 2000 drivers who only got one shot at qualifying for 3 races, the drivers in Indy Pro 2000, that next step up on the Road to Indy ladder, getting the opportunity now to go out one more time, qualifying for race number 2. And for these drivers, I think the interesting thing is they know what the car was like on sticker tires. This is what I want to change. I would expect to see things tighten up a little bit because there'll be drivers that this just wasn't right. Now you can dial that in. Now the track has changed quite a bit, but we still haven't seen IndyCar roll out here as of yet. That's going to change things pretty significantly. We'll see what happens when it all plays out. The Porsche guys were just out there. The track will change a little bit, but again, all these drivers have had one chance to qualify already. Temperatures rising, and I expect to see things tighten up, as I had said.
Louis Foster will be starting on the pole for the first race tomorrow as he turned a 1:18.2678. Again, we're about 4 seconds off lap record pace, but as you said, the car has evolved since that time was set back in 2018.
Yeah, number one, it was the engine package. Like I said, we made a focus on a turn in terms of the car itself, the engine itself, for reliability, dropping the RPM range a little bit. That's dropped our horsepower down a bit. But then remember as well, since that date, we also added the new tub this past year with the halo on it. We weren't able to put the halo. We couldn't retrofit it on the old chassis, so we had to come up with a new tub, the new midsection of the racetrack, race car, which also then required some more body work because the tub was a bit wider.
Therefore, it's heavier.
And heavier, exactly. Heavier and the top weight as well. We raised the center of gravity of the weight itself. So the car's a lot different right now.
Yep.
We can look at that track record. We're never going to get near it again simply because of the way the car's dialed in. But it doesn't matter because the drivers are still significantly faster than USF 2000. We've designed that jump to be so much more of everything in addition to just speed. But Louis Foster, like you said, this kid's got to be rolling a high right now. 3 wins out of the last 4 races, point lead coming into what will be the 4th last race. Only 3 more to go after this. Toronto Worldwide Technology Raceway on the Oval in St. Louis, and then we'll wrap it up in Portland. This thing's pushing through to the final, and a guy like Foster, who has had success overseas before, his first year here in American racing, this guy's got all the momentum right now.
Yeah, and with that bonus point for the pole, he's now a full 20 points ahead of Reese Gold, the man who is second in the points, a 2-time winner in his own right, but didn't win that one at IRP, which is the one that has all the bonus points.
That's it, because it's 1.5 points for that one race. But I think even more the key thing, Foster goes out and gets the pole, and you and I were both, I was unbelievably surprised, I know you were, that Reese Gold and Anam Ahmed for Juncos Hollinger Racing were further down the order. Reese was 8th, Anam, I believe, was in 10th spot. So that's tough when you're thinking about, man, I got to get in a championship battle. They were coming here to win. Like Juncos Racing has won races here before. I think they figured they had a chance to roll in here and do some damage, and obviously tough to get out of the gate the way they are. Let's see now if they step up, because Ricardo Juncos and his crew, very good in terms of dialing these cars in. I would not be surprised to see them come out and challenge for the pole. Kiko Porto, though, was a driver that John and I mentioned from the get-go of the day that really hasn't set the world on fire in terms of coming up as a rookie in Indy Pro 2000. Of course, you only say that because the benchmark, the barometer, is a Kyle Kirkwood or a Christian Rasmussen, who both won in their first year after winning the championship at USF 2000. But he really was strong there. Ended up being P3. He'll be an inside row 2 starting spot for race number 1 tomorrow morning, John. I'm really happy with what Porto's doing. This is that second half progression that you hope for out of a rookie driver.
Yeah, exactly right. He's just got to get used to this car and how it's different from the USF 2000 car with which he won the championship a year ago.
Well, the funny thing is, the first 6 or 7 races of the year, he was top 10 in every race. It was Road America where we really took a beating, had some issues there, and wasn't able to get the results that he wanted. So he needs to bounce back here at Mid-Ohio. Of course, we're just 2 weeks away from heading north to the streets of Toronto, so that'll be a track that I think he'll be strong at again. He's always shown very well on the street circuits. So Kiko Porto, guy stepping things up with he and Siegel, his teammate, now P1 and P2, 2 laps in. We'll see whether or not at that 8-9 minute mark, we see drivers come in again to potentially put on tires.
Yuvan Sundaramurthy takes over the top spot again. Very early days in this session. Nolan Siegel, who qualified outside of row 1 for the first race, is second quick in this session as well, but the times we're seeing a couple seconds off what we saw at the tail end of the morning session.
Indeed, only 5 minutes into what will be a 20 minutes of green flag racing. Yuven Sooner Murley for Pabst Racing on top with a 1:20.500. Significantly warmer now than it was earlier in the day. Siegel and Porto second and third. Anam Ahmed for Juncos Hollinger in fourth. Braden Eves, there's the driver we need to talk about. He's P5 right now. Fuel pressure, from what I was told, what happened to Braden Eves in the first session. Only got 3 laps in. He had to get pushed up pit lane. Dead last for race number 1. He'll be out for a vengeance here in this qualifying to try to get himself back up front.
Braden, of course, local driver from New Albany, a suburb of Columbus, so this very much his home track, and he's going to want to do well here.
Drivers working their way up over turn number 9, that drop down into Thunder Valley. The car gets very, very light there, but they got to get it to rotate, using a bit of a drift coming down onto the exit curbing, the rumble strips on the outside there. Here's the shot out of the carousel through the final corner of the racetrack to lead them onto the front straightaway. This is where, unlike NTT IndyCar Series action, we'll start our drivers coming out of the final corner at the actual start-finish line here right in front of our Cooper Tire Center.
Yeah, again, some of the races, IndyCar is one of them. We start on the back straightaway. The race actually starts on their final parade lap when they come by start-finish. That's when the timer begins running. And the green flag is shown, so the turn 1 is actually turn 4 for that very first lap of the race.
Anam Ahmed on top by 0.05 over Nolan Siegel, again, early in the session. And it'll be interesting to see what they decide to do. You know, they've been out there right now on warmer, you know, we're getting more rubber down, John, so the engineers are getting a feel for, hey, can we hold on to a fresh set of tires potentially for the race? Is that a key? Is that a move we might want to make? We'll see what the strategy ends up being like. Or do we go to 2 sets of fresh rubber again? Because there's only 4 sets of tires for the drivers in Indy Pro 2000, so how you use your tires throughout the sessions will be very interesting.
You know, interesting looking at this morning's session, 4 of the top 5 are rookies.
Indeed, but race winners around the country, around the country and the world, right? You think about Nolan Siegel, multiple race winner in USF 2000. Same goes for Kiko Porto, won the championship last year. And then you go back to Salvador de Alba, the rookie driver who is a champion NASCAR Mexico and Super Copa racer. So the guy knows how to win races. For him, it's just been getting comfortable with his race car, and his progression throughout the middle of the season has been absolutely remarkable. Salvador, a talented driver, showing what he's got. But up front, indeed, it's Louis Foster, the rookie driver, but remember coming in with the team champions from last year in exclusive Autosport. Took a little while to get used to these Cooper tires, but he and John Hayes, the veteran engineer, have hooked up and linked up. They're talking the same language right now, which is worth a lot of speed out of the racetrack when your engineer trusts you.
Keeping an eye on Braden Eves, again, with something to prove in this session. 5th quick at the moment, about 0.3 off the ultimate time at a 1:19.85. But again, this is about a second off the times that I think we'll see by the time we get to the end of this session.
What I like right now, too, is Jonathan Brown, the Irishman for Turn 3 Motorsports, stepping things up at 1.2, 1.3 seconds off throughout this test day yesterday and today with practice and qualifying. We find him now working his way up to the point where he's 10th, but he's only 0.8 of a second off. That's where he qualified before, but he's got himself within that 1 second now, which I think is a big step for Jonathan, getting a feel for this particular racetrack. And again, getting a chance to go back and lay down and look at the data with his teammate as well, Josh Green. So, you know, Green qualified pretty nicely a little further up seventh. Was significantly quicker, almost a half second, 0.4 of a second faster. So there was time to be gained for Jonathan looking at the data and, you know, corner speeds and you know, turn 1, John, is one of the key ones in terms of rolling corner speed, right? It's not a place you can make a pass normally to the inside, because you don't really, unless somebody messes up in the final corner, you're just rolling speed through there to try to set up for the pass in 2. But I talked to the VRD drivers, actually. We just did a Cooper Tire Q&A, and Victor Anderson said the one corner that he really not had trouble with but kind of worked his way up to was turn 1. Was really rolling the corner speed through there, because if you're not fast through there, you set yourself up as a sitting duck at the end of the straightaway in turn 2.
Yeah, exactly right. And same thing for the keyhole turn. It's very important because it leads on to the longest straightaway. That's, you know, an axiom. The most important turn on any racetrack is the one just before the longest straightaway.
That's it. So, watching Foster up top, Braden Eves has worked his way up into second, but here comes Wyatt Prokachik. He'll go to second spot. We're 9.5 minutes in. Now, just as I said that, look over, and the first driver. Oh, how about a wholesale driver's coming in? Reese Gold in the 55 comes in. He's currently P6. Anam Ahmed in as well. He's currently 7th. There's the number 4 of Braden Eves. He just moved his way up to 3rd at one point, dropping down to 4th. And let's call it a full pit lane here right now. We've got Salvador de Alba, then we've got Louis Foster, and they just keep coming. The 92 of Wyatt Prakacic, the 3 of Josh Green. So essentially, all but 3 drivers in the top 10 into pit lane, and I expect we'll keep an eye on it. Will they go to stickers? Indeed, they will. Pulling out the fresh Coopers for this last 10-minute run.
Pretty
See
much
who's going to be up front.
Pretty much a replay of what we saw in the earlier session. They go about halfway through, about 9 to 10 minutes in, and then come in for a fresh set of tires, and that's when we really saw the fast times fall.
Indeed. So the number of the teams in: Foster, Prakacic, Eves, Gold, Ahmed, Green, and De Alba. All into pit lane. Jonathan Brown coming in here as well. He just rolled in behind us here in the H&M machine. Jonathan Brown from Ireland in the number 2, the Human-Centered Movement CRPS Awareness Tatus IP22. Here's one of the drivers when you talk about F1600 racing, Formula Ford racing in Europe, has done extremely well. This guy's won so many races in that program, that highly competitive scene of F1600 racing, open wheels, no wings, right. Beautiful race cars. And then again, it's been around for 60 plus years, sure. The Formula Ford program.
Sure.
And one of the best that we've seen over the last recent years. I'm thrilled to have him here with Peter Dempsey's operation. He's getting up to speed, and hopefully we'll see him back in Indy Pro 2000 again in 2023.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a bit of an adjustment for him to race a downforce car.
Yeah.
Because he's used to one that doesn't have any. So,
Jack William Miller coming in here as well. Jordan Missig, the 8 as well of Nolan Siegel. And here comes the 1 of Kiko Porto. So let's say every driver in pit lane right now, other than Louis Foster, who just came in and just left,
yeah,
right?
He just left.
There's one driver still out there. Yuvan Sundaramurthy remains on the racetrack. He's got open track right now. Well, I expect to see Yuvan in next. The key issue now, though, John, 8 minutes remaining. So Yuvan's going to get around here in a minute 20 around there. So he's going to have less than 7 minutes to go. Going to come on in here. 3-4 minutes on the tires. He's not going to have a lot when he goes back out, unless their concept is to potentially save tires for another race. We'll see.
Looking at the optimal lap time, Foster very close to his optimal time. His actual time, a 1:19.25. His optimal time, in other words, stringing his best 3 segments together, a 1:19.1. So he's only a 10th off.
And what I love about the optimal or theoretical best time is every engineer looks at that time and says, "This is the car that I gave you.
Right?
You can do this, right? I've given you a setup that can. It's not like it's a time like how I could never get there. It's 3 segments, right? 3 sectors. So you got to put all 3 sectors together to get that time.
Yep.
And the engineer will tell you, I gave you that car. You got to go hit that time. So when you're within a 10th of it, though, that's amazing. Or if you're bang on, if you get that magic lap, you put it all together, that's impressive. But when you're within a 10th of that lap, that's a pretty solid run. That's what you're seeing, he said, out of Louis Foster. Kiko Porto, 1:19.2. He does a 1:19.4. So 2/10 off. So, so Foster, a little closer to that theoretical best time. And again, that's what a lot of drivers will look at. This is what I should have been able to do. They beat themselves up when they're too far off the theoretical best. That means they had 2 great sectors, and they may have missed one up, right? And in qualifying, listen, when we talk about the fact that we've got everybody within a second, that's when you make a mistake. You're 2/10 back. You go from being Eves in 4th to being Miller in 9th. 5 spots for 2/10 of a second. That's how key it is in this particular category.
It's very IndyCar-like.
It is indeed. Like how many times does somebody miss the fast 12 by 100th of a second?
Right.
And it just eats them up because I missed one corner by 6 inches on the apex.
Yep.
That's 100th of a second. That's why IndyCar's, in my opinion, one of the best open wheel Formula car series in the world.
Ambient temperature up to 90 degrees now. Track temperature at 124. That's steaming.
Yeah, indeed it is. Prakacic back into pit lane, as is Anam Ahmed. I don't know. Oh, hold on. Prakacic right through.
Maybe looking for some clear track.
Or maybe a drive-through penalty. Both of them coming through, speeding on pit lane maybe? I don't know. Both those drivers coming through pit lane, Prakacic and Ahmed. Not quite sure what happened there. Let's see if I get an update from anybody here. No text yet from anybody kind of filling me in on what happened. So both Prakacic and Ahmed taking essentially drive-throughs. maybe potentially looking for open track, but you could do that. These guys are veteran drivers. You can do that on the racetrack. You can just let up somewhere, and not because when you do this, you're giving away almost a full lap to a certain extent, right? You're giving away, I guess, the next lap. So
everybody's on track with the exception of Yuven Sundaramurthy, who stayed out, one lap longer than everybody else. So he's in the pit lane now, getting his fresh set of stickers, I think.
Looks like they're putting the rubber on Indeed on him. He's only got 5 minutes remaining. This is what I was worried about right now. Is he going to get enough laps on those tires to be able to get a flyer in? Right now, they're still kind of biding their time. He's down and away. 5 minutes to go. So by the time he gets back around, let's say another minute before he gets to the timing stripe, because it's not quite all the way around. So he'll have 4 minutes remaining. Likely he'll get 3 laps in. I think maybe 4 if he's lucky.
Those weren't brand new. Those weren't stickers. They've been scrubbed, so it may be.
I think so.
Yeah, because I didn't see any stickers as he pulled away.
Well, sometimes they pulled them off, not all the time.
That could be.
They look kind of shiny. I don't know whether or not I would. He's back at the tail of the field right now, 120.194, a second back.
He's a whole second off the pole. Oh my goodness!
Right, I know, isn't that crazy? Well, Louis Foster goes faster again. That's why it's a second. It was 9/10 of a second before. Foster drops down to 119.175. He's 3/10 up on the field. So literally, Foster's there. Then it's 7/10 for the remainder of the field. Second back to 13th. So Foster, a little bit of breathing room over his teammate Wyatt Prokachik. Exclusive Autosport sitting 1-2 with Foster and Prokachik. 119.175 for Louis Foster, the Brit. And Prokachik out of Colorado, now living in Indianapolis, Indiana, a 119.475.
Kiko Porto, the Brazilian driver, reigning champion with the number 1 plate, a 119.48. Only, in fact, he just gets bumped by Sebastian de Alba.
Salvador de Alba.
Salvador's
right? Salvador de Alba, the Mexican driver for J. Howard Driver Development, up into the second spot. Call that third now as Reese Gold has put the number 55 Juncos Hollinger Racing entry to the top. I talked about that. Let's see if he's able to get the job done. Everybody on fresh tires now, so just hold on. 3.5 minutes to go. Gold now P1. Foster takes it back with a 118.7. Lots to happen in the next 3.5 because literally 2 laps into these new tire runs, we're already going quicker. So maybe this one, maybe another lap. I don't know if 3 straight laps of faster laps will come. They could end up running out of time, as we said, almost just about 3 minutes to go. So just a little over maybe 2, maybe 3 laps left.
Yeah, depending on how they catch the timing line.
Exactly. Foster, Gold, Ahmed, Green, and De Alba top 5. Miller in 6th, Prokachik 7th. Make that Siegel 7th. Prokachik in 8th. Foster and Gold 1-2. That's how they sit in the points as well. These 2 drivers ready to battle it out. The British driver versus the American. Let's see who else we got moving up. Braden Eves back up to P5. De Alba 6th. Porto 7th. Miller 8th. Siegel 9th. Prokachik, Missig, Brown, and Sundaramurthy round out your top 13, the 13 drivers. Now expect Sundaramurthy to drop the hammer pretty soon. Same with Brown to get their good lap in. Because both Prokachik, Brown all back a lap. So is Gold, Ahmed, and Green. They've only got 9 in. Reese Gold back to the top, a 118.673. 900ths quicker than Foster, the 55 Juncos Hollinger machine.
Comparing that to the best time we saw this morning, an 18.2, so we're about half a second, 0.4 of a second slower, and you would expect that. The track's hotter and greasier.
Yeah, you pointed to it, John. It's 90 degrees, track temperature up at 124.5. It's a much different racetrack, and what it's going to do is it's going to get the tires to go off a bit, and once they do, they're going to start sliding around a little bit here. Gold, Ahmed, Foster, De Alba, and Green. Who's the next driver to jump? Minute and 45 seconds remaining. Kiko Porto still with that theoretical best lap of a 118.5. His best, a 119.2. Wow. So he's 7/10 of a second off the theoretical best. Porto can put the lap together. Just got to do all 3 sectors. He's got the fastest sector time in sector 3, which is big for him. Where is he in 1 and 2? We'll see as that cycles back around. We'll be able to tell you kind of where Porto potentially dropping the ball a little bit here. He's second in sector 1. It's going to have to be sector 2. He's got pretty good sectors together, 1 and 3. So the middle part of the racetrack, which I'd assume would be 5, 6, 7, 8 kind of a thing, which is a tough part of this racetrack, coming through 4, back up the hill. Yeah, he's all the way down in 5th.
And he did put it together.
He just did. He just finally put it together. Nice job for Kiko Porto, 118.573 to P1.
Just about 1/10 of a second clear of Reese Gold at the moment.
Have we not talked about this all day, that this is the breakout potential weekend for Kiko?
Yep.
Couple of top fives, last year's champion. Hey, why not do it in Mid-Ohio? Why not come in here and have a really strong weekend? Potential pole run for Kiko Porter, the Brazilian. For D-Force Racing, the reigning USF 2000 champion, up by a 10th with 30 seconds to go. Gold second, Ahmed third, Miller fourth. Foster, who was P1, is down to P5. He's just 2/10 back. As 3/10 separate your top seven, what I say about Yuvan Sundar-Murthy as well, able to get that lap in. Siegel now to P4. Foster down to 6th. He's pole for race 1. Foster now 6th. Single digits left to go. 7, 6, 5, 4. And the checkered flag will fly in the back part of the racetrack as the drivers work their way over through the timing line as they come down into Thunder Valley, right there across the timeline. Checkered flag flying. What do we got? Does anybody have it? De Alba, who was second for a time, now 9th. Sundar-Murthy to second. Yuvan Sundar-Murthy to P2 by 0.03 of a second. Gold does not improve. He goes third. Sundar-Murthy on the last lap, fine speed. He goes P2. Miller, 6th. Porto not across the line yet. We're looking for Ahmed, Siegel, and Foster still to come. Eves as well. Eves is down in 12th. Foster, last lap, 1:18.432. Foster goes to P1. What about Porto? Can he respond? Siegel's still there. The two D-Force drivers still on the racetrack. They have not come around yet. Here they come out of turn number 6 to 7 and 8. Can Kiko Porto put it together? Foster almost matched his theoretical best. He's back to P1 from 6th. This is a crazy finish. Looking for Kiko Porto and Nolan Siegel. Siegel does not do it. He's 6th.
Eves is coming too.
So is Braden Eves all the way back at 12th. He needs to put a lap in. Otherwise, he's starting at the back of the pack in both races. Road America winner, not bouncing back from that event. Still looking at Kiko Porto. Siegel doesn't do it. Porto does not do it. And it's back-to-back pole positions for Louis Foster. Kiko Porto second. Yuvan Sundar-Murthy up to third. Great job for Yuvan, who was 9th in the first session. Reese Gold and Anam Ahmed improved from race number 1. The Juncos Hollinger drivers 4th and 5th. But John Phippen, we had ourselves a couple of storylines there. One of them being Kiko Porto, the other being Foster going back-to-back.
Yeah, exactly. And 18.4 is his best lap this morning, an 18.2. So only about 2/10 off. Again, with a hot and greasy racetrack, no real surprise. But yeah, Kiko Porto is starting outside of the front row. And on this race, he'll start inside of row 2 on race 1.
There's your unofficial results of qualifying 2. Louis Foster and Kiko Porto will be on row number 1. Yuvan Sundar-Murthy and Reese Gold, race 2 going tomorrow afternoon. Anam Ahmed and Nolan Siegel on row 3. Wyatt Brkovic on the outside. Jack William Miller on the inside of row 4. Then Salvador De Alba and Braden Eves, the two Jay Howard driver development guys, on row number 5. I'll tell you, Kiko Porto coming up, he's going to be pretty happy. The rest of the drivers like Gold, Siegel, Ahmed are not going to be pleased to see back-to-back poles for Louis Foster. This is the first thing you and I said when we got here. I mentioned that where this Mid-Ohio always is on the schedule, it always seems to be a place where someone can take off. Yeah. USF 2000 championships have been decided here with a guy coming in and sweeping the weekend, right? Especially with a triple header. This feels like a time that Louis Foster, 20 points up coming into main events, could drop the hammer and give himself a really nice cushion heading to Toronto.
Yeah, like I say, and winning 3 of the last 4 races, If he sweeps the weekend, he's going to be pretty much untouchable.
And going to give himself some, number 1, cushion, number 2, some opportunity to kind of play with where he needs to finish. He doesn't need to win every race. You can finish second all the way home and collect the $600 and something thousand to move to Indy Lights. That's the championship scholarship. But the bottom line is, great qualifying effort there for Louis Foster, exclusive Autosport on top once again. Kiko Porto in second. Yuvan Sundar-Murthy in third. Reese Golden and Anam Ahmed 4th and 5th. 4 teams in the top 4 again. Exclusive, D-Force, Pabst, and Juncos Hollinger Racing. It's a spec series. Everybody on the Tatis chassis. All our drivers in USF 2000 and Indy Pro with the same engines built by Steve Knapp and Logan Knapp of Elite Engines. Just a tremendous engine builder for us. We're thrilled to have them as part of our program. And then to have all these teams, it's the parity that's so great here. You come into this program, you pick the team that has the culture that you like, and you know you're going to still be able to be up front. The parity is amazing, and that's why we develop so many great drivers, not only for Indy Lights, but for the NTT IndyCar Series.
Absolutely. Rob Howden, thanks so much. Great to have you with us. We'll be back when we're in race mode at the end of the day at 5:15, as Rob will be here to call the action for the first of 3 races for the USF 2000 coming up a little later this afternoon.
Thank you, John. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.